Hello there. So we're in for a big squeeze on our financials in 2022. Sounds like a very painful 2022 is on the way for most of us as we take a hit in the financials. According to a report from the Resolution Foundation think tank, we're going to see tax rises and energy price rises next year, causing most retail and business prices to rise, so leading to inflation spiking to some 6% by the end of the year. This will be the year of the squeeze, says the Foundation in its latest labour market outlook, with households facing a hit of at least £1,200. Politically not good timing for Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak, but financially potentially disastrous for households already living on the limit. And all this is based on the new increase in national insurance contributions, soaring energy prices and stagnant wage rises. The first is the rise in employee national insurance contributions of about 10%, driven by the increase of 1.25% on the current 12% rate. And for the top NIC bracket, that extra 1.25% equates to a rise of over 60%, from 2% to 3.25%. So in percentage terms, quite a hike in taxes there, as it's not a rise in the tax of 1.25%, it's an extra 1.25% of your wages being extracted within each band. And businesses get hit on rises to employer national insurance contributions at equally eye-watering rates. Then there's the impact of the freezing of income tax thresholds. So as nominal wages go up, more people go into higher tax brackets, but the buying power of those pay rises is possibly, or more probably, eroded by inflation. Then there's the energy price cap that is supposed to protect consumers from greedy energy giants, that I mentioned in a video yesterday. That cap will be hiked significantly to allow energy providers to cover the costs of the massively increased cost of natural gas. All this, says the Resolution Foundation, will feed through to increased prices across the board, causing inflation to surge. The result is that next Christmas we'll be worse off in real terms than we are today. And it all really kicks in when the new rules come into effect at the beginning of April. Torsten Bell, the chief executive of the Resolution Foundation, said, "The overall picture is likely to be one of prices surging and pay packets stagnating. In fact, real wages have already started falling and are set to go into next Christmas barely higher than they are now. The peak of the squeeze will be in April, as families face a £1,200 income hit from soaring energy bills and tax rises. So large is this overnight cost of living catastrophe that it's hard to see how the government avoids stepping in." And the Foundation says that we will be more likely to look back on 2022 as the year of the cost of living crunch than as being defined by the latest wave in the pandemic. It also says that the government is the driver behind all these rises. So large, widespread and government policy related is this pain that it's almost impossible that it will go ahead without some form of mitigation. In particular, top of the government's New Year resolutions should be addressing the increase in the energy price cap that will see gas and electricity bills taking up 12% of lower income household spending, up from 8.5% last year. That's a 41% rise in energy prices for households then. Then there's the prospect of our councillors and police and crime commissioners putting up precepts and council tax by the maximum they can. And this is exactly the sort of thing that will see the Tory incursion into the Red Wall seats collapse without trace. especially given that the increase in national insurance contributions is still likely to force the less wealthy to sell their house and not be able to pass it on to their children if they need social care, despite what Boris Johnson claims. And some of this will also not endear them to their traditional blue wall voters either. The foundation does say, though, it is possible that the combination of Conservative MPs opposed to any tax rises and a Labour Party that thinks national insurance rises are unfair could together cause the national insurance rise to be delayed, given the wider cost of living pressures in 2022. But this would put the financial skids under the government's future plans for funding the NHS and social care. So they might have to either shelve those plans, you can hear the screams about defunding the NHS already, or pile some more government bonds onto the market and rack up the national debt for future generations to pay off. But as inflation rises, the Bank of England might, or should, be forced to hike interest rates, so government borrowing becomes even more expensive. And household costs for servicing credit card debt, loans and mortgages also increases. Now, according to the Resolution Foundation, some tinkering with universal credit and heating allowances, as well as shifting a chunk of the cost of energy from the less well-off onto the general taxpayer, could be the way ahead. That is, socialising the problem, in the hope that the wealthy stay around to foot the bill and that the government still has the creditworthiness and interest rate environment to keep borrowing at reasonable rates. Now, I said yesterday that ships carrying liquefied natural gas, LNG, had been diverted to Europe and the UK because we have the ability and willingness to pay whatever the price is to keep our homes heated while pretending to be green. And the Telegraph reports, huge cargo ships carrying liquid gas that were destined for China have changed course and are now heading towards the UK as Europe remains trapped in a major supply crunch. And it says that 20 vessels carrying a cargo of US gas is already on the way to Europe, with another 14 awaiting orders to do so. And this will, of course, bring gas prices down. But we're still using natural gas, and it had to be dug out of the ground somewhere by someone. That's not us being green, that's fake pretend green. So why are we paying through the nose for someone else's when we could use our own much more cheaply and have more employment in the process? But we're not going to do that, are we? Because Boris won't want to appear to be the COP26 hypocrite by using our own resources and having Greta screaming, "How dare you!" at him, nor have Carrie sulking in the corner and not speaking to him either. No, far better that we all pay more taxes to keep his international reputation for greenness, such as it is, intact. But tinkering around the edges and socialising some of the cost will not address the root causes. And unless the government changes course drastically on its green agenda and on the cack-handed way it's trying to fool us into believing it's remedied the social care problem, then next Christmas could be an even colder time for households. So what's your opinion on our domestic financial future? Please like and comment below. Please subscribe and like this video, buy a mug and support me on Patreon or PayPal, and thank you for watching.